Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. We are waking the world up to what's possible for healing, one brave word at a time. Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we're helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission is Lainie Sevante Wulkan. She is the lead author of a new book that we have coming out, you guys, High Vibrational Wellness, Intuitive Healing Therapies to Nourish Your Body Temple. Lainie, I'm so excited to talk to you about this. How are you today? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm super excited, and I have these wonderful butterflies. I'm filled with so much gratitude. Feels like this has been, as someone who interviewed me last night said, a divine cosmic project that's been in alignment for some time, and here it is ready to give birth. Thanks to
That
you.
that is
No
a
less.
that's a good way to describe the energy of it. And I mean, what else do we expect with this book titled High Vibrational Anything, right? Like we're going to do it. All right, you guys, listen up. Lainie Sevante Wulkan is the food oracle, a fourth generation intuitive and multi-modality healer, best known for her highly successful co-creation of the food healing oracle decks, top exotic foods for natural healing and smoothies, nourishing wisdom beyond the blend, and being the founder of the Center for Intuitive Food Therapy. Oh my goodness. Her teachings focus on the deeper meaning of food through the eyes of spirit. And I know that when we talked about the book, we talked a lot about food because food is a major way to nourish ourselves, but this is way more than food. Why this book? Tell everyone.
How long is our interview, Laura? Um, Yeah, it's way more than food. I know originally we came together to talk about all these beautiful healers and everybody who's not a healer. Everyone, our common ground is that we need to eat and fuel our body, and how to do that best, how to sustain ourselves so we can fill our cup up, fill our body temple up so we can give from that overflow. And originally in my work, which is about food, it was about how are we eating. And the more I looked at what I do, and the more I looked at how food does affect us on all the levels, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, it was more than just how we're feeding our body, what we're putting in it. It's about feeding that soul, feeding our thoughts. And I started to look at our beautiful collaborative authors and all their dynamic talents. And they're doing it in such a myriad of ways that we all are coming together holistically in this one wonderful vortex. But I think that it needed to be bigger than just this food. It's all food, how we feed ourselves. And I think we've come together with a wonderful collaboration to show that we need to eat high vibrationally. We need to think high vibrationally. We need to walk in that embodiment. And sometimes people hear that word high vibration and they're not quite sure what it means to get there. So we're bringing that roadmap to consciousness for that plan.
Yes,
That's
we
why.
are. I have a lot of gratitude for your mission and your vision for this, and I'm just honored to be a part of this. You mentioned a couple things that I want to keep going on a little bit. We're coming together holistically. So when you think of a holistic approach, which we take in all of the books that we publish around here, it's about holistic kinds of living and healing. What does that mean to you?
It's a great question. I've been enjoying the interviews of the other authors. And I love the word whole in holistic, WHOLE. And for me, that is really coming together with the balancing of the bodies I just mentioned, that emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual, and also personal and professional. It's coming into wholeness, which to me is coming into oneness. And in order to do that, we have to look at all the spokes on the wheel. We have to look at all the links in the chain. because it's those little links that help support the greater strength of the whole. So I think holistic living is looking at all aspects to our life and seeing where we can fortify and strengthen ourselves for our highest good. In doing so, there's a myriad of ways to do that. And so I look in my life of how can I be whole in my thoughts, in my responses, in my time for self-care, in my time with spirit, and how my temple's being nourished. So holistics is on my consciousness 24/7. And so it's a matter of staying present. How can I holistically be whole in this now moment when I'm not thinking about what was, I'm not thinking about what is, I am just in the being of now.
So, a few minutes ago, you said we need to live a higher vibe. We need to eat higher vibrationally. We need to do these things. Well, why? So, like, there's a lot of people walking around not paying attention, not awake to it. And when you take that on as a journey, it's life transforming. Tell us why we should be interested in this kind of living.
Hmm, that's a powerful question. And who receives of this will be interesting to see. You mentioned the word awoke or awaken, and I've always had this idea that some of us are awake, some of us are asleep, and some of us are drowsy. And the drowsy are those ones who are starting to have those little nuances that there's something more, that there's an unseen that maybe has a truth to it, and that there's an ability to explore more about the greater purpose of why we're here. And that why is for those people who are starting to get those nudges that there's more to their life. When they start to see that maybe people are falling away in their world because they're starting to choose differently things that might be better for them, and they're kind of moving away from the crowd, and other new people in resonance are starting to wake up and come to their field. It's those people who I really want to spend my energy with, is that we all can do this together, and it's moving into a way to sustain themselves. And sustaining requires the energy on all levels, mind, body, and spirit. And I think that's what we need to do, is to show people that Mother Nature has always had the keys. We live on her planet. She's provided the clues all along. And if we can get back to the simplicity of our divine beingness, we can grow even further, faster as a more harmonized collective.
So, what's the story behind your practice? Like, you may not have always lived that way. Can you think of a time where you began to, and a shift happened for you personally? Tell us a little bit about that.
Ooh, well, I can think of many. And I can think of some times in my life where things didn't go exactly according to my plan. There were some losses in my life. And when you're stripped down to nothing, you become at such a place of surrender, if you're lucky. Some people can go into resistance and resentment and all those things. And I think we all do that when we've gone through some losses or some traumatic experiences. And so there was a time where I had some multiple losses, 3 years in a row, lost some very important people in my life. And it was just like, okay, I need to look at how can I move into a greater space of harmony within myself? How can I keep going? How can I keep moving forward? And what can I do to receive any energy that will, A, restore me, so I could go with my passion to keep helping others restore themselves, and now learning from some of the experiences that were so incredibly painful to now share that. And I feel that I've done that, do that, and continue to work with other people who come to my field and say, yes, I've dealt with suicide. I've dealt with this, I've dealt with that. And those people show up in my life and I can actually support them in such grand ways. But it always comes back to how to be intuitive, how to start listening to that inner voice. It's there all along. Whether it's going to the grocery store and you're getting a nudge to eat those tomatoes tonight and you want to know why, to I don't think I should go there this evening. And there's a reason why, and it turns out it wasn't a good experience for those who did go. Is starting to get really honed in on the intuition, because when you have losses, you can really get lost in your intuition. Like, how did I not know that, being so intuitive that this was coming down the pike? We don't know. But if we have some tools in our toolbox, we can be better equipped to move forward and strengthen and listen to the voices that are trying to help us heal.
So I've been talking to a lot of your co-authors this week, and those interviews have been going so amazingly well. And I've asked each of them to give me a peek in, if I was looking in their window, how would I see them being in the practice of living that high vibe life? And I've loved listening to all of the different answers. It's one of the reasons why the expert collaborations are my favorite way to educate people, because we need all the unique stories and we need all the unique tools that we have, right? Because we need an idea of all the different things that we can do. But also, when you're practicing one thing every day, there might be a time where it doesn't work like it did yesterday, and you need something new to think about, right? You need someone else to tell you the story in a different way so that you could have an aha moment about it. If I was going to peek in your window, what's one of the ways that I will find you in your practice?
You're going to see that I do pull my cards daily. But before I even pull my cards, I sit in quiet space in my meditation room and I ask, how may I serve? Before I even do how may I serve, I ask, what does my body, mind, and spirit need in this moment so I can better serve myself, my family, my community? And it sounds cliche on some spiritual, that's what everybody does level. But at the same time, I make a point of really asking myself in this moment, what does my body need to be fueled for this day? And that's really important. I'm a big smoothie and juicer in the morning. I really feel that the foundation to the day is to ground energetically with what is being sustained in the body. So that to me is a very purposeful breakfast. And that is something that, without saying, no matter what I'm doing, I make breakfast my ceremony and I intentionalize it. I have uh, my cards all have meanings to them from the Food Healing Oracle deck. So today I'm really wanting to intend a miracle. I will eat something in my, I'll put something in my blender with soursop. It's our miracles card, but I am really creating that intention that the vibration that I'm putting in this body is in alignment and every cell is harmonizing miracles for the day. And I can just say it as well, but since there's food that are now taking on that character of that word, I work towards that. I'm looking to actualize and I say intend and blend. So my practice really is to create a very ceremonial morning. And it starts with what I'm putting in it.
I love that idea of a ceremonial breakfast. I also would love the recipe for the miracle smoothie, because why aren't we drinking that every single morning? Like,
I have 5 prosperity smoothies that were added into the book as bonuses for
nice.
people who want to bring in prosperous relationships. It's not just money, prosperous health, prosperous wealth. And you can actually drink that vibration. Apples, by the way, is in our abundance card. So think apples, abundant.
Mm. That's interesting. I have been craving apples lately. I love it. I love earlier, a few minutes ago, you said, I pull my cards. It was like the first thing you said. And you went into explaining that a little bit. A couple of your co-authors talked about their card decks and everything. We were chuckling a little bit because you can be a little addicted to the card decks, and they have like collections of these decks.
Oh, yes.
What I've loved the most about yours is I have been paying enough attention to know when I'm craving something and it
Mhm.
interests me. And so I just kind of pause. And with your deck, you can actually like find the food and read that message. Tell me a little bit more about your deck.
Yeah, thank you. It's really decades in the making, and a lot of past life energies come forward. But just in a nutshell, it's an oracle deck made of 60 fruits, vegetables, herbs, nuts, and spices, all plant-based. And there has been some channeling going on, some beautiful messaging related around what these foods are wanting to share with you. Why are they on your dinner plate? Why are you craving them when you go shopping at the farmer's market or your grocery store? And when you walk in and say, I gotta have butternut squash tonight. I don't know why. I don't care about anything else in any other aisle. That is what I need to have. Wouldn't it be wonderful to know why? And there is thousands and thousands of people who've told me, I just bought that last night if they pulled a card, or I've been craving that. And wouldn't it be amazing to figure out why? And sometimes it's not just about the word. We also have these cards attuned to your chakra system. Is there something going on in our energetic vibratory system that needs to be looked at? Do we need more creativity? Think about going back to that butternut squash, that orange, that sacral chakra. Is there something that needs to be birthed in this creative moment I'm having? And that's actually our support card. How can you be supported to bring your creative endeavors? And you happen to be craving butternut squash. It's like that. Somebody the other day had said to me, I don't know why. And she just got done presencing telling me how she does not speak up for herself. She has trouble with her throat chakra. She doesn't share really what's on her mind. And she was heartfelt telling me this whole experience about how she'd like to improve, standing more in her own truth. And then she says to me, and by the way, I've been craving radishes for 2 weeks straight. I don't know what's going on with radishes. What's radishes in your deck? Well, it's our communicate card. I mean, it was like you just, I don't even know how it works. It does. It's
Can't
so
make that
spot
stuff
on. It
up,
was like,
right?
of course. It's like that. And so, yeah, we're not just looking at the word, we're looking at what your body may need, even on a physical level, a nutritional level. It could be even a pH level. You look at some things that can be acidic or basic, and what's happening on your pH, like cucumbers for balance, our balance card, and they need emotional balance, or they need to balance kind of what's happening with their food diet plan. It's amazing. It can answer any question that any oracle, like a spirit animal or any other type of oracle deck, but it's got this whole extra level. It even works with the elements of who we are nature wise. If you're feeling very fiery, angry, resentful, mad, all that red, how do we cool you down? How do we bring in more water? How do we bring in more divine feminine? How we kind of like fan the flames? What foods will do that? That's what this deck helps answer. How to live according to the elements and
How
more.
incredible. Really,
Yeah.
and more. How incredible to have all of those things in that. All right, you guys, I know you're going to want a deck. So we're going to have some information down below this video about the deck. Okay. Don't worry. Um, so Yeah, I was even in our author group the other day and I was talking about artichokes. And this was, I believe, your forgiveness card, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah. And
Yes.
so it was lovely for me to get the message back about the artichoke. And I just really was able to sit and meditate about that, because I was like, I was in the store, I was getting artichokes. There was like no question about this. And I went to grab like the biggest artichokes I could find. Really, really amazing,
Can I
fascinating.
can I add to that for a second?
Mm,
Well, just to tie in the pH,
mm.
when we are in a level of needing to forgive, a lot of times we've got that anger up. And that anger in our body causes us to be more acidic, more caustic in our system. And when we can come into forgiveness, of course, we can release that. But as it would turn out, artichokes have the highest pH, 13.99.
Hmm.
So, how amazing that we can actually also eat this food to kind of tone down that acid that has caused us when we have been living in a state of unforgiveness.
I
So,
love
all these
these.
pieces come together like that.
Love these connections. I love knowing about them. These are golden nuggets of awareness to bring into your life to make it more rich and amazing, you guys. Yeah, the biology of the emotions, and then treating that with food, which is really your main medicine, is pretty powerful.
And,
Um,
a lot of these authors that are in our book, a lot of them have taken my courses. And I love how they've taken the wisdom and applied it to their main gifts, whether it's past life regression or Reiki or essential oils or whatever it is. There's many authors in here who know the teachings and have woven that into their own special brilliance. And that's what I love. It's like, wow, essential oils and food, going into your past life and looking at some food pieces. I mean, it's just very interesting it how it's kind of woven into their tapestries as well.
well, that's perfect segue, because my next thing today was to really give them a shout out. And
Oh,
to you, all you co-authors who said yes to this project and helped us create this beautiful gift of a book. I know you have a lot of gratitude for them, Savante. So I just wanted to ask you, what other message that, do you have for them today?
well, my message of gratitude goes beyond words. I was choked up thinking about so many of you. Some of you are prolific, best-selling international authors, and some of you came to me and said, I've never written a word. How would I even begin to do this? And to see this journey of the last year where you've really become brave and you've listened to Laura's teachings and you worked with us to really hone your gift and narrow in on how you're going to present yourself to the world has been so satisfying for me, and what a gift for others. So it hasn't gone unnoticed. And now everyone will see what I've been seeing, what Laura's been seeing, and what you now see in yourself. So bravo to all of you on the full spectrum of who's in this book. You're all amazing to me.
That is a ditto bravo from me. All right. You talked a little bit about the deck, which is one thing, but you have a lot going on besides this beautiful book. Tell us everything you're up to. What are you
Oh,
working on?
thank you. Well, one of the biggest things happening in my world is that I am now the US and Canadian importer, both countries. I don't even know how to put my head quite around that, of these very sacred teas. They are from the Himalayas, based out of Nepal. And I was a yes before I even heard what he had to tell me, but there's a beautiful humanitarian out of Nepal, political dignitary. He works with the UN. He empowers uh, young women to stand up and learn how to be women. And he's just amazing. But his family has had a centuries old formula of all these Ayurvedic herbal teas and infusions, And he does that to empower the youth there who have been disempowered for centuries through a lot of slavery and trafficking and things that you hear of, and they're real, and we know they're not just there. And so he called me about a year ago and he said, I really believe in your deck. I know you know the power of herbs, and I know you know how to incorporate the value of humankind and what we put in our body. And I would love you to do this project. And I was like, he just called and I just had to say yes. And it's been now, 6 months in the now here, and the Nourish Your Soul teas have come out, and we now are working on about 13. We're getting into stores, we're getting into yoga studios, people are buying them at festivals. They are quite extraordinary. Whatever they say on them, they're gonna do, they're gonna do, whether it's sleep, whether it's immunity, whether it's your mood, whether everything. There's so many of them for your throat. And so I feel it's a real ministry for me. I feel that it aligns perfectly. I've upgraded my understanding on Mother Nature's beauty, how she grows these herbs in these sacred lands and how they turned into wellness. He told me stories how people would line up for miles for a cup this small of his immunity tea. And then when he shipped it out here and it was during the winter and everyone was having some COVID and RSV, I was seeing the responses and I said, they're healing. Send more. And so that's an amazing dharma unfolding for me that I never would have thought. And it's led to that's happening. I could see some of these new herbs going into a future third deck, more books. And so, yeah, I'm very grateful. So there's a lot of classes and teachings, but they all seem to all culminate into how to nourish the body temple. But that piece in particular speaks really near and dear, that this 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 amazing human being who's working with the countries to do peacekeeping missions between, big, inner Southeast Asian countries, and is taking the time to empower these women in these villages and work with orphanages that had to be developed because these girls have had babies. And now these girls have grown up and he's working to empower their lives. And some of them may even be farm owners, which is extraordinary in those areas. And so I'm in development to make a documentary around his story, my story, the whole story around this. And just like I said, feels like a huge ministry in the works.
Fabulous. Oh my goodness. What an
Yeah.
amazing story. I have
Thank
the
you.
immunity tea, which I love. So thank you for
Yeah.
that. And I was one of those people during that time. I'm like, I need the immunity tea. Everyone is sick. But it's fabulous.
We have a memory tea. It's called Good Memory. And I can't believe the way people have written me saying their recall.
Mm.
And it's not just older people who have dementia or Alzheimer's. It's people who are around computers and EMFs. And it's amazing people are writing me, but it's a real brain tonic. Opens up, clears, clarifies. And I just trust him implicitly, and then I try everything, and then I sell it. And then I watch what people write back to me, and it's just a miracle in itself. It's amazing. So I feel honored to do that too.
All right, guys, we're going to have that information down below as well. So don't worry. All right. I think I want to just say, what would be some last words for our listeners today? I know that I've been talking a lot about calling ourselves healers. We don't like to do that a lot of the time because we know nothing is broken in you. We are guides, we're facilitators of that process, and it's part of our mission to help you connect with your own inner wisdom and your own inner healer. So, Savante, what's a message of empowerment that you can help people to connect with their own inner wisdom today?
Feel everything's coming full circle for me. My first children's book Came out 10 years ago, or was written 10 years ago, and I'm having a re-release at the same time this is all going on. But the message of that children's book about a frog that learns to believe in himself is that all he ever needed was already inside, and he goes on adventures to discover that. And I feel that that's what we're doing. And whether we are wounded, whether we're wounded healers, whether we are just waking up, that if we keep going back to what I said earlier about that intuition and honing that craft that's already been given to us, that we will truly know that all we ever needed is already inside, whether it's opening up your refrigerator and seeing what lights up, or what you shop for, or what music you choose to put on, or what exercise you choose to do that day or not, or what book you choose to read, that you know that you are in resonance when your body lights up and gives that yes. And you know what it feels like, because it'll feel like a Christmas tree lit up on all levels. So yes, that would be my message, is trust that intuition. The answers are already here for you.
I've always had a thing for frogs. I don't know if you know that about me, but I'm gonna
I
have to.
didn't. Oh, well,
I
you
love
better wait
that.
to see what might hop on your way.
Totally. I love that the frog book. Okay.
Yeah, dance
Lainey.
giant leap.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good way to think about that too.
Yeah. It's really taking that leap of faith and learning that no matter what, and it's a cute little story and people don't believe him, he gets a little bullied, but he learns to realize that it's right here. I am good enough just the way I am, and all things are possible.
Lainey, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everyone.
I couldn't even respond enough to reciprocate my gratitude. Thank you. Thank you for leading all the books that you do, and for being such a way shower for us to for us to do our craft, our work, our expertise. I've always known that it's not always a solo job. It's definitely always a collaborative, especially when you know what you don't know. My husband always says his greatest strength is knowing his weaknesses, knowing where he needs to fill in, and with the right people. And you are so that right person for me in so many ways. So thank you.
You are welcome. It has been an
Yeah.
incredible partnership. I can't wait to show you all this beautiful book. And really, if you haven't figured it out by listening to some of our authors and Lainey today, this is way more than a book, you guys. This is a generous community of experts who are ready to grab your hand and answer the next question you have and give you some support. So, of course, everything we talked about today for Lainey is down in the chat, okay, in the description. So scroll on down, explore her websites, the tea, the card deck, the book will be there sooner or later, but you're also invited to join us for the book launch party. July 18th, we're going to gather with all of our high vibrational wellness authors, and there's info down below to join us on that Zoom. And if you happen to be listening to this anytime after that date, well, that just means the book is ready on Amazon and you should go grab your copy. So go ahead, Lainey.
And some people call me Lainey and some people call me Savante.
Savante, I know I've said both today in
You
this
can,
interview.
and most people do, and people sometimes say, I don't know what to call you. It's that intuition thing again, like wherever you feel, I resonate with both. Savante is definitely if we think about higher vibrational wellness, I would probably say that that is my higher vibrational name. But both are fine. So I don't want anyone to ever feel like I don't know what to call me. Call me whatever you want. Just call me.
I'm just going to call you a badass. How's
Oh,
that?
thank you. I take that one in too. Thank you. Thank
All
you,
right.
everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Brave Healer Productions.
All right, you guys. Lastly, today, remember your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.